Welcome to the Cup of Joe Marcoux podcast show, where we have conversations that start about sales, history in sales, sales fails, and then it just goes off the beaten end, and we never know where this conversation is going to go. Because in the end, it's all about relationships. And so I've got Jeff Kruszyna with me, who is the founder of JMK Victory. I'll let Jeff explain what that is. Jeff, welcome to the Cup of Joe Marcoux podcast, man.
Thanks for having me, Joe. Yeah, I'm sure we'll have a great discussion today and all things sales marketing. I've spent the last 20 plus years doing direct response marketing, fundraising through good old fashioned postal mail. So lots of interesting nuggets, I'm sure, to talk through.
So let's jump into that. When people hear postal mail, like let's just take a deep breath here, guys.
Sure.
Because many of us are hearing mail and we think immediately now it's email or it's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and everybody's doing DM messaging as a form of marketing. And you're going classic. You're catching people walking into their homes or stopping by their mailbox, and you're catching them with paper. Exactly. We're going Dan Kennedy. For those of you who don't know that name, he's the godfather of all the stuff that guys like Jeff and I are doing. So what got you into that? Into this? This is an amazing medium.
Yeah. So, fell into it, so to speak, right after, looking for a job, post, college graduation, sent my resume to everybody and anybody like, a good, job seeker would.
Yeah.
And, got connected to some folks at a big agency where I got my start. And I've always enjoyed copywriting. If I look back, to my schooling and interests, it was always writing for the school newspaper. The classes I did well in were always the ones with, a term paper or some sort of thesis.
Yes.
So just kind of fell into it that way. Made a career of it. Really enjoyed it. Initially starting more in the political sphere. So doing fundraising for Republican campaigns and political action committees. Still do that to this day, but we've diversified quite a bit beyond just the campaign world. But the principles of sales in direct response, whether it's selling coffee or, I always like to say
products, services, or an election.
Yeah. I mean,
the principles stay the same.
Yep. So I like to say, like, if you've seen the infomercials for 6-minute abs and things like that,
right.
It's the same sort of urgency and a tangible outcome and all those sort of key, triggers, marketing wise, that, whether you're asking someone to buy a product, sign up for a service or donate to a candidate or a cause. Human nature is human nature, and it's all things are relative, whether you're talking about the digital, so serving ads on social media, the instant messages on name your platform, emails, peer-to-peer text. I'm very I like to tell prospective clients and my current clients should be doing all the things and communicating across all the channels.
Yes.
I'm obviously biased on the direct mail side because unlike the others, it is a physical, tangible thing, as you mentioned, good old fashioned paper that you have to do something with. So when you check your mailbox and you've got that stack of mail, which nowadays is slimming down, which is good.
It is
good,
which is an advantage for you.
Exactly. So, and I've said this, numerous times I'm sure you could probably find a piece of mail you got 3 days ago, but can you find an email you got 3 days ago?
That's it. That's unless it's sitting somewhere in a folder that you don't even know. And I'm talking about your email. The wonderful thing about what you're doing, Jeff, is that you've got a medium that for years, people would wait for a catalog to show up. And what most people would think that they're getting in the mail is a bill. You come in and you're providing them really with a solution or with hope, and or something that's frustrating them enough to want to take action. And so before I get into a little bit more detail about what JMK is about, because I've got a bit of notes here that I wanted to ask you about, which it'll take us in a different direction.
Sure.
What got the copywriting bug?
Mm-hmm.
Was there any one in particular that you learned from, whether it's with a college teacher or maybe one of the copywriting greats that old or new, that it just resonated for you? And because you said you got the bug of writing, is there anyone that comes to mind that a listener or viewer should go, if they don't know about this person, they should go look them up and learn more about what copywriting is?
Sure. I mean, there's definitely, the historical greats. So the Ogilvies and of that, generation, or the Claude Hopkins. That's another great read as far as scientific advertising and back to, sort of the Mad Men era of ad sales. More specifically for my industry, you have, the pioneers. So the Richard Viguerie is kind of known as the funding father or godfather of conservative direct mail, which is what I do. And along with him, there were folks like Bruce Eberly and Walter Lukens and Richard Norman, all those folks that pioneered the industry through the 60s, 70s into the 80s. And most, if not all of them, are still active to this day.
Awesome.
And so, any of the names I just threw out there, those are kind of the pillars upon which our industry continues to grow and thrive. But yeah,
well, we're standing on the shoulders of giants, right? And the point of this is that you had to learn from somebody who, in their respective talent and skill, they learned from others. They earned their black belt, and then they turned around and became the master by helping to teach others. And that's really how things work. You want to get good at something, success leaves clues. You go find somebody who's successful at it. You then learn from them, and then you get so good at it, then you teach others, or you also provide the done for you service for others, which is what you're doing with JMK, which this is powerful, you guys, because a lot of times when, there's rules in sales, and the rules are you don't talk about politics and you don't talk about religion. And JMK just throws that out the window.
Sure.
And again, to your benefit. And so your mission statement on your website, this is awesome, you guys. To empower donors to advance God's kingdom through their generous support of candidates and organizations who fight to protect our faith, family, and freedom. Dude, that is huge. So kudos for you, number one, to have the courage. And this is not a question of being divisive. This is your belief.
Sure.
I'm sure that there are people, if they're, again, and this is from a Canadian. So it's fun for me as a Canadian. Like, we're in the loft up here in Canada and you're the house party. So we're watching what's happening downstairs. And it's like, wow, look at all that's going on.
It's all right. You all can become the 51st state eventually.
I joked with Greg Stevens earlier this week. He was on the podcast and it's like, oh, we're the 51st state. And yeah, Canada, Canada is certainly prideful in terms of who we are as a nation. And I don't know of another nation that has as much pride as the United States. Truly. I don't say that because I'm not blowing sunshine up your butt when I say it. I've been to sporting events in the US. And again, Canadians are really proud when we sing the anthem. It's interesting to be in the US as a foreigner, even though we're between us and Mexico, we're your closest neighbors, to be there and to be listening to the pride in the anthem. And to come back to your mission, there's such a divisiveness that's been happening over the last decade and a half. You mentioned if you're a Republican, then it's almost like, Democrats go home and vice versa. And the moment that you think Republican, again, based on social media,
Sure.
it's that every Republican is gun-toting, which, by the way, is not a bad thing. There's a whole story behind this, because even in Canada, I mean, it's getting very challenging to be able to have a firearm, and that's a right. And again, some people, again, I'm not suggesting that there shouldn't be stringent, shouldn't be able to just go and walk in and get one. However, it's a choice. It's a choice. So tell me about this mission that you're on and how challenging it's got to be at times when people aren't necessarily in alignment with you.
Sure. I mean, and the political divide and it's really been kind of the Trump era. So the last 10 years, where folks on the left, the term of Trump derangement syndrome is a real thing. I think back to my start during the Bush Cheney time, right. In the aftermath of 9/11.
Of 9/11, yeah.
Where we came together as a country, and that sort of that event. I was a freshman on college campus in New York on 9/11, and saw
we all remember where we were.
Yeah,
everybody does, all over the world.
And that kind of unity that we saw, between the bravery of first responders and the just pride in our country. It's sad to see, that we've become, so polarized. However, having those conversations across the aisle, are important. And, folks, like, the, Charlie Kirk, who unfortunately was slain doing exactly that, having those sort of, open, honest debates on
and
issues.
Fervent belief, and he was speaking about what he believed in, and you absolutely right. There's other people that didn't believe him or didn't agree with him.
Yeah, I mean, I hope that we can get back to a place where we can have those kind of open debates. I mean,
in safety.
Yeah, I mean, and when I was Mr. College Republican on campus, I had plenty of friends that were Democrats or on the left, and,
sure.
and we'd have great debates, and then talk about the New York Knicks or name your sporting
things
events.
that united you, as opposed to
and so much of it is it's hard to we're in the same classes, we're breaking bread, having lunch or dinner together. It's a lot harder to bomb throw when you're living with these people in the same dorm or what have you. Nowadays with the blessing and curse of the digital age of social media is you have the rise of keyboard warriors that
big time
don't have to actually have that interpersonal dialogue, which is I'm glad to see in some ways it's coming back. And on the mail side, you're having that dialogue in a long form letter, where you're explaining what the problem is, and you're providing a solution, whether that's your candidate running for office or your product or your cause where you're advocating for an issue. And the blessing of the digital age is the amount of information that's readily out there on your buying history,
and it's the curse,
and you're giving and you're giving history. So we know if you're a very big Second Amendment a gun guy, and or if immigration or the economy or what are your top issues, and more to know how to actually message to you.
There's a thing, Sharon Srivatsa, who's a phenomenal business person. He now was the president of Real. I don't know if he still is, but he's been able to generate billions of dollars in real estate, and living in California of all places. And I'm reminded by one of the things that he had mentioned in terms of the power of practice with looking at social media being swipe culture, and mail. He was talking email being intimate. And I would say that direct mail is, I'm going to say it's dead sexy, because it is. It is. I'll use Dawson. It's dead sexy. It is, because what it is that you get this item that you have to look at.
Right.
And in some cases, you're curious, like what's inside, and you open it. If I see a subject line that doesn't catch my eye in my email, first of all, it's got to get through the firewall and with the promotions tabs and folders and so direct mail, and now the affordability of it is it's not like 20 years ago when you used to get stacks of mail. We don't get mail like we used to. I don't know if it's the case in the United States. In here, it's a great thing. And I know that there is a political slant that you do, and then you have a partner, Joel, who you're also working with nonprofits.
Mm-hmm.
And so talk to me a little bit about that work. And again, nonprofits, by helping, again, what you're doing is you're helping people with their message in the mail, not email, you guys, in the mail. I just love it.
Yeah, I mean, and that's true. The where you have the different folders in the email side, or now, I mean, I recently updated my phone to the new Apple iOS 26, where it now does the same thing on texts, where unknown senders are now
delete and report junk. See ya.
Yeah. So I'm like, you do have to kind of break through the noise and figure out creative ways on that side too. But the great thing about direct mail is exactly who you're sending it to, right to their home. And it, my business partner Joel likes to use the phrase appointment viewing. If you're going to sit down, have your morning cup of coffee, and you're going to sit down and go through your mail, and hopefully the biggest part of what we do is that 5 seconds as folks are sorting their mail, above the garbage can of you gotta make it into the pile of like, oh, I need to look at this, I need to open it.
Yep.
And on the nonprofit side, I mean, we specialize in kind of the both conservative advocacy and Christian ministry work. So whether that's spreading the gospel, domestically, internationally, we've worked with organizations like the World War II Memorial in Washington D.C.
Big time.
I mean, it's again that same sort of one-to-one as I was taught to write direct mail. It's you're writing home to grandma and you're explaining what's going on, and that emotional one-to-one, especially on the charitable side, whether you're a crisis pregnancy center, or you're trying to restore a historic monument, or name your cause. There's that emotional draw that we already know on as we've built our audience of who we're going to mail to. We already know you're predisposed to care about what the issue is. Now it's just a matter of kind of selling it to that person of why your organization is uniquely positioned to do something about it. And the old what does my $25 do?
Right.
That's the question as far as the fundraising side of direct mail goes. You need to have a concise, well thought out answer. Now you do have some real estate to within your 4 to 8 to however many page letter. Generally it's around between 4 and 8 pages to tell your story and make your case. But it's really what at the end of the day, what is my donation? What is it going to do? What problem is it going to solve? Are we going to, save unborn babies? Are we going to, restore monuments? Are we going to do whatever the issue is?
It's interesting. You mentioned again, like World War II. I have on my desk. This is my grandfather's obituary, and he was a fighter pilot trainer in the Second World War. So I have this, like, my grandfather Marcel is around all the time. And he was a hero to all of our family. And it's one of the things that when you find something that you can latch onto, it's funny. Like, I have a dog named Loki, and now I donate to the Canadian National Institute of the Blind for their dog program. Because of what, right? So you got to latch on to what, and again, is it a lot? No, it's not a lot. It's something, and yet for what you're doing, and I actually get these in the mail. not email, mail. And I breeze through it, and I know that it's my donation doing the work. It's like, hey, look at this, look at this, look at these puppies that are getting trained, look at these people that are, that are impaired, and that they're getting an opportunity. And so when I hear, what for example, if it's a World War II monument, and that's near and dear to me because Jeff, we are living the way that we do thanks to our veterans, and they get crapped on like there's no tomorrow. And it's like a lot of them went because of pride of their country and what they believed in. And there's a sense of that, again, coming back to the written word, there's a sense of that's been missing in globally, unless there's a threat. And you're the written word guy. Where do you see this go? And I'm turning this into this AI question because it's the big AI thing.
Sure.
Where do you see this going? Because I have my own opinion on this as far as AI is pulling people away from the human interaction. HI is what I am a big believer in.
Sure.
And for you looking at AI, and you're a copywriter,
sure.
And by the way, I use AI. It'd be foolish for a business person or a salesperson to not take advantage of what AI can do for you. What AI won't do for you is, the example is, it won't pour that extra cup of coffee for your guest. AI won't leave that wonderful scent after she leaves the room. It won't do that. And these are aspects that people are forgetting. And so this human interaction, people just getting caught up in, you talk to the internet troll, I'll call them that, where they're clickety clackety, I'm really brave. Come say it to me. And so I come back to you as a marketer. Where's the benefit for you in AI, and what's the threat?
Sure. I mean, the benefit initially and still is sort of as I spoke to, kind of the audience building of the data analytics, being able to refine, whether you use the term machine learning or large language model, which is what AI is, to kind of look at folks, take your example of giving to your animal, your dog, service animal,
yeah.
I mean, they'll build a lookalike, like, okay, so we know that Joe, has a heart for dogs, specifically service dogs. So like, you're probably going to get, similar organizations kind of reaching out to you to kind of prospect to you.
And I do. Yeah.
And, so that side's been there. Now on the copywriting, yes. I mean, initially, and I mean, I certainly utilize AI in my business, even on the copy side. On the front end, it's a great research tool. So, what would take you a couple hours or a couple days to, do the deep dive research. Yeah. I mean, case in point, I've got on my other screen, I typed in Cup of Joe podcast. Like, let me know, like, what the heck am I jumping into here? right. So I'm like, okay, fair.
Like, I did the same, by the way.
Yeah, no, it's a wonderful tool there. Now, it's certainly, it's only as good as the information it's pulling from. So,
right. Or the prompt that you're putting in.
Right, exactly. So you have to, again, it's a lot of, monkey see, monkey do, but also, it's only as good as the prompts and the information that you're giving it. So now, again, it's ever evolving. And, if we had this discussion a year ago, I'd say like, no, I can't write. Like, it's just basically a super Google, which in some cases it is, but like, it is certainly improving. So definitely, I think, the future is, I think, going to be more so in the hyper personalized, where, when I got my start, I like to say, like, a lot of clients didn't have a website. Yeah. We weren't even asking for, credit card donations. It was simply writing a check, mailing it back in. And that's still the vast majority is still, writing a
the demographic check. That, because they're obviously older. I mean, it's funny you mentioned it. I got a checkbook right back there. I got my checkbook.
Yeah.
And yet I could tell you my kids, there's no way any of maybe my son Ryan, but the rest of them, there's no way they have a checkbook. I got 5 kids, so it's like,
yeah. No, so it's it's ever evolving. So now, QR codes and the idea of a dedicated landing page or making sure our organizations and candidates websites are set up for mobile viewing. Same thing for the one blessing of COVID is, I think it trained all of us what a QR code is, and you have to scan those to get your menu at a restaurant, and so now that's become more of a
it's
a
the
must
norm.
have on the contribution reply form, where you're giving a donor options to visit a unique website, or I mean, still obviously I'm the direct mail, physical mail guy. So
sure,
there's always a reply envelope that's pre-addressed, sometimes pre-stamped.
Right. So put the check inside, or dial the number, or QR. So your call to action is that.
Right. Exactly. So, where I see AI being a benefit is the ability to, have multiple versions to hyper personalize. Because, when we're prospecting trying to get that first gift in the door, it was always, dear fellow American or dear friend. Now, with digital printing and things like that, you can not just say dear Joe, but you can say like dear Joe, and specifically talk about things about the neighborhood you live in, the other issues and causes, and the entire we're not quite there yet. We're seeing more and more on email and text where there's more more utilization of the AI
detail,
but that's where I think we're going now is the again, because you're trying to cultivate that relationship. So you're not just trying to get the one and done gift. You're trying to get, or a product buyer, you're trying to get them to be a repeat buyer or giver.
Right.
So you have to develop that relationship. So, your dog charity, they're probably giving you updates and then, end of year giving, or if they've got a special campaign going on, you may give, say, $5 a month. But hey, there's a special project going on. Can you give 25 this one time?
Right.
And it's, all that kind of bakes into what I do for, sustainer giving. It's, we're all kind of predisposed to, do you have a Netflix subscription? Do you have a Spotify subscription? In the subscription economy, shout out to my good friend, Dave Rayleigh. He has a whole book on the subscription economy and how that translates, especially to the nonprofits of the reoccurring monthly giver sustainer programs, which have now become, really the lifeblood of many charities.
Awesome. So Jeff, let's switch gears, my man. When Jeff isn't working,
sure.
And because you're an entrepreneur and I'm an entrepreneur, and the goal obviously is to be able to do as much impact as possible without having to work 80 to 90 hours a week. So Jeff, when you're not working, what do you like to do for fun?
Sure.
Yeah. Talk to me about walk away from JMK's office. Although, by the way, I love your background. If you're not seeing this on YouTube, Jeff's background is a man cave / cigar lounge. It looks like there's bourbon that might be in a glass and with a leather couch. I can smell it right now. It's likely you're probably smoking a Fat Bottom Betty, which shout out to Ed Milet on that one. Thanks, Ed, for and Galel Fajardo for buying me a box of those, because now I've had several boxes. So anyways, what do you do for fun, bro? What's fun for Jeff when you're not working and you're not helping people get donations in for whether it's a campaign or for their charity? What do you do for fun?
Sure. I had an old colleague that used to say, you don't get time off, you get time away from the office. So your mind is always thinking about, different marketing or work related things. But outside of that, I am definitely a diehard Green Bay Packers fan. So we're filming this the day after Thanksgiving. Where
happy Thanksgiving, USA. I was going to say that. So thank you for reminding me. Yes.
Yeah. So Green Bay Packers fan for many years. We've been spoiled with the Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to
So are you in
Jordan
Wisconsin?
Love. No. So originally from New York. And while most of my friends growing up were either Jets or Giants fans, and the part of New York I'm from out on Long Island is largely Jets territory.
Yeah.
The Jets have, including this season, have always been pretty awful.
Lackluster. Fair enough.
So, kind of when I first started watching professional NFL football, the Brett Favre era of Green Bay,
Magical.
magical. And the more I learned about the team, small market, fans own the team, so I rarely ever say this, but I am an NFL owner.
There you go.
And so is my son. He was born when they were having one of their more recent stock offerings, but it's largely a fan club, obviously. But we do get in the mail every summer the shareholder proxy vote certificate. And they do a shareholder meeting right before the preseason kicks off. But yeah, no, been a diehard Green Bay fan from New York. We're everywhere. And I have a buddy in Toronto that's a Green Bay fan. So I'm like, we're international. It was a good game yesterday. Came down to the last drive where we sealed the deal, but
nice. Congrats.
It's great. I mean, always Thanksgiving you have the Detroit Lions, which are in our division, and the Cowboys. Always have a Thanksgiving Day game, so we generally have a good shot of playing on Thanksgiving, being in the NFC North. We were playing the Lions, so. That's definitely been the thing I like to do most when at least during football season, and then watching the draft and on through.
You're a diehard fan. Do you ever? How many do you get to go to Green Bay, and do you take in a game at least like once a year type of thing?
I'd love to do it more. I've done a pilgrimage to Green Bay once. It's phenomenal.
Pilgrimage. I love it.
I live outside the DC metro area, so the Redskins or the Commanders as they're
Commanders. I still call them the Redskins too.
I mean, the fan experience and where my office is actually right down the street from their practice facility. Yeah. Now they do have new ownership, and there was definitely some controversy with the prior ownership of the Redskins, but the fan atmosphere at Lambeau is unparalleled. Well, where you're literally in a small town where you can park in some guy's front lawn for $20 and walk to the stadium, instead of how it is here, where you're paying way more, parking way further, and you're walking through the middle of nowhere,
suspect neighborhoods and whatnot. What about the tailgating? I admittedly I've never been to an NFL game. My boys Ryan and Jordan
change that.
they make the pilgrimage down. We're in Winnipeg, so for whatever the reason, I'm thinking it's because of proximity. They're diehard Vikings fans, so because of that. And we're in the north. The Vikings are pretty much quite the northern team, as is obviously Green Bay, and I'd give Chicago the nod on that as well. With especially, I mean, I've been to Soldier Field, just never during a game. The spectacle of the NFL is something to behold, and again to watch it on television. Have you gone to a tailgate, and what are some of what are the things that draw you to that?
I mean, again, it's the camaraderie. I mean, the food, certainly.
AI can't serve food.
Right.
AI can't share a meal with you.
And I mean, Green Bay is there, the fans are known as the cheeseheads.
Cheeseheads, man.
Wisconsin cheese. I mean, beer cheese.
Beers and brats and cheese.
It's pretty spectacular. I'm a pretty big dude, Polish heritage, and my grandmother and uncle.
Get the kubasa.
Used to be chefs at a German restaurant, so definitely familiar with the brats and the schnitzel and all that good stuff. And the Wisconsin in general, Milwaukee up to Green Bay is very, very heavily German influenced, and
for sure
all that Eastern European food that's very heavy and potato laden
and delicious
is delicious. Yeah, so. I always like to say, my very Polish last name of Kruszyna translates to tiny little crumb.
Is
And
that what it is? Really?
and it's hilarious because all the guys
What's left on the plate?
exactly. That's exactly where I was going with that. That's the only thing that was left were the tiny little crumbs because we're all 6'1", big boys.
Dude, there's something in the water in the United States, or it's in the chicken. Because I'll tell you, every time I go down there, everybody is tall, broad. Like there's no small people. I mean, I'm this French Canadian dude, and people see me on Zoom calls and what are you, 6 foot? I'm like, dude, I'm 5'8". It's like, what? So it's like, thanks. The energy's bringing it up, man. I love it. I used to work for a company, just so you know, Jeff. I used to work for a company out of Wisconsin, Madison, Wisconsin. They were a division of Johnson Health Tech called Vision Fitness. Some of the best memories I've ever had, and just Wisconsin, been up to lacrosse. I went to the PGA Championship one year. It was in Whistling Straits in Kohler, Wisconsin. I mean, some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. Oh, yeah. And like I say this, I've met folks all over your country. I think I'm missing 3 states to go visit to be able to say that I've gone to them all. I'm missing Alaska, and I'm trying to think of which one. There's somewhere in the Northeast. It's escaping me, and it's not Vermont. Anyways, I've been to Maine. It'll come to me. And then I've got to look at my map, and I used to have it up on I just recently went through Mississippi, so there's 3 states. Puerto Rico doesn't count as the protectorate, although I still haven't been there either. Okay. Which, I'd love to go.
I've been all across the U.S. And there's probably more than 3 states that I haven't been to yet. But
everyone is different.
Yeah,
everyone is a country amongst itself, and yet somehow, despite this, what you see on the news and again, I get Canadian news, and we have U.S. news feeds up here too. So we see Fox, CNN, and like either NBC, like Fox to NBC is like, oh my God. And you know what? Every American that I end up talking to, quite honestly, Jeff, when you have a conversation one-on-one, it's not nearly as kooky as the news makes it out to be. People are calm, they're cool, they're collected, they have their beliefs, and they believe in them, and that's fair. That's totally fair. And so to come back full circle in terms of what you're doing at JMK Victory, I think is necessary. If people want to know more about what you do and how they can get you to do what you do for their business or their nonprofit, or learn more about the beauty of direct mail for their business, how would they get in touch with you?
Sure. The easiest is going to jmkvictory.com, which is our website. We've got presence on all the social medias at JMK Victory. I'm pretty much all out there. If you can spell my last name, you can pretty easily find me. But I'm sure we'll link to all those things in the show notes. But I'm perpetually known as Jeff K. But if you can spell my last name,
JFK, baby. That's it.
JMK are my initials and my son's initials. So that's how to find me. But thank you for having me. And if I can ever be of service to you and your community, I'm email or a phone call away. So happy to help however I can.
Jeff Kruszyna, you are honestly, bro, you're a gem. And one of the reasons that Jeff and I have met and been on this, and now Jeff been on the podcast, is that we met in a mastermind group that we're a part of. And that is about this. And kudos to Kevin Thompson, who's actually going to be on the show next week. Oh, nice. It's all about building relationships, you guys, sales and or this thing that we call life. And every topic that Jeff talked about is a God-given right, and it's a blessing to be able to build these relationships with people, whether you're watching football or you're talking about a political view that you may not agree with. It's something that is truly a blessing. And Jeff, blessed to have you here, man. And I wish you all the best for this coming year. You guys are on fire. I love what you're doing. And so with that, this has been Joe Marcoux for the Cup of Joe Marcoux podcast, and we'll catch up with you guys for your next cup sometime soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe.